So homework day 34, continuing on with factoring. We're factoring a difference of squares. V squared is a perfect square. 36 is a perfect square. There's a minus sign in between. And if you remember when we were multiplying our binomials, we had that special case that came out to the answers that were factoring the difference of perfect squares. They were when you multiplied values that were conjugates. But when you take the assessment, you may or may not recognize that that's one of those special cases. And so you look at it and say, oh, I have a quadratic expression because I have that squared term that usually comes from factoring two binomials. So doing that foiling stuff. So factoring it the exact same way we did the ones on page 33. Factors of v squared, v and v. The end sign is a negative. If the end sign is a negative, I have to have one plus and one minus. What we want is the factors of 36. 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, or 6 times 6. That has a whole lot of pairs as factors, but we want the pair that gives us 0 in the middle. So we end up with the pair that has the same numbers, because if we have a plus 6 and a minus 6, we get 0 in the middle. So here we end up with what they call those conjugates, the same two terms just with opposite signs. If we wanted to check it, we would just FOIL it out. And so v times v is v squared. V times a minus 6 is minus 6v. Positive 6 times v, so positive 6v. Positive 6 times a negative 6 is my minus 36. My middle terms are opposites. They cancel out, so I get the v squared minus 36. So that indeed, v plus 6 times v minus 6 is my answer. So if I recognize when I look at it as the difference of perfect squares, then when I'm looking at the factors, I know it has to be that fair pair of factors that are the same numbers. So, number 2, if I'm going to factor that, hopefully I recognize it's the difference of perfect squares, but if not, I go to the foiling thing. Factors of z squared, z and z. Since the end is a negative, we have a plus and a minus. We want the pair of factors of 49 that are the same, that will end up giving me 0. So 49 would be 7 times 7. A positive 7 minus 7 is the 0 z's in the middle. So z plus 7 times z minus 7 is my conjugate pair that I'm going to get for my answer. Number 3, if I'm going to factor that one. Again, I'm going to have my two sets of parentheses. Factors of 16 first. 4 times 4 is 16. The end is negative, so I have a plus and a minus. Factors of w squared. W and W. So that I get a negative 4W plus a 4W, which is 0 W's in the middle. So if you can start recognizing, oh, there's only two terms, are they both perfect squares? Then it makes your factoring a little easier because you know you should get conjugates, the same two terms, just with the opposite signs.